It's Tennessee.Frank.
Hey guys, Tennessee.Frank here. I'm going to do kind of a quick update on my solar journey so as far as power stations, panels, and what have you, things that I'm getting into. I've learned a lot over the last month or so. There's a lot to learn. Believe it or not, there's a lot to learn about these things. Whether it's like lithium ion or lithium iron phosphate or different technologies, how many watts, how many watt hours. There's a lot to learn about this stuff. Different connectors. I mean, you can watch my videos that I posted already. I talk about a lot of this stuff. But I just wanted to kind of do a quick update, and maybe not so quick, just depends on how fast we do this, on what's been going on, what I still have, what I have on order, what's went back. I guess we could probably start with this guy. This was the first one that I kind of figured I wanted to get, and it was the Pecron E1000. From all the specs that I saw, all the reviews and everything, it looked like a good unit. The one, for me, major drawback on this unit was this input. 29.4 volts minimum, up to 40 volts. I really don't know a whole lot of solar panels out there that are going to run that much voltage unless you put them in series. And I wanted something where I could take one portable panel, 120 watt, 160 watt, whatever, and hook it in and run it. And most of those will run anywhere from 12 to 18 volts, 24 volts sometimes. That's still not enough to run this unit. Other than that, it seemed like a decent unit, but it just wasn't going to work for me because of that input voltage. So I sent that back. What we ended up doing, I ended up getting this little R150 from Go Labs. It's 160 watts. It's not a pure sine wave AC, it's a modified. But my whole intent behind getting this wasn't so much to use the AC anyway. It was more for these ports. It's got a 60 watt power delivery port, USB-C, which is really handy for charging your phones and stuff. It's got your standard quick charge USB-A ports, and it has your 12 volt out. And my whole intent on getting this was the 12 volt out and the USB-C. I wanted something to charge devices with. So I picked this up. Price point on it at the time I got it was like $130, which you can't beat that. 204 watt hour battery. So the battery is above the rated watts, which is good. And if you, a little shout out here for a fellow solar junkie, Ask Ive Solar. Ive was talking about you always want to try to get your watts and watt hours equal, if not greater watt hours than the amount of watts. So at 160 watts and 204 watt hours, it was actually a greater amount of watt hours, which is nice. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to his channel, just real quick, check his channel out, Ask Ive Solar. I love the way he kind of dumbs it down for all of us guys that aren't rocket scientists or whatever. He puts it in a way that we can understand solar. Like I said, there's a lot of other channels out there and they get into all this, scientific stuff. But he comes across just, just an average everyday guy explaining this to us, and I love that about his channel. So yeah, check his channel out. But this was kind of the next unit I picked up, and like I said, it was more for devices, but I wanted something a little more powerful. My whole intent was to run my refrigerator should we have a power outage. So I went ahead and got this guy, which is the Biben. I'm going to start calling it a Biben, B-I-B-E-N, and I guess the E's silent. the Bibin CN505, which this is a 500 watt unit, pure sine wave, which is good, and it was, if I recall, 614 milliamp hours. So there again, you're getting more, or watt hours, excuse me. You're getting more watt hours than you are watts, which is always good. You want equal to or more. So yeah, this has kind of become my workhorse. I did have the EB70. My issue with this, and don't get me wrong, it's a good unit. A lot of people are running these, they love them. My main issue with this was that on the AC, there were things that it just would not run. I plugged my blender into it. Blender generally runs like 350 watts. This unit's rated for 700, should run it no problem. On low, it would run it. I put it on medium, it would throw a code that said short. I'm not sure what's up with that. Not that guy. This guy right here, the Bibin, would run the blender all day long on high. I could set it on high and it would sit there and just crank away. Also, I'm not crazy about the display. For the price point of this unit, it should have a better display. I don't know why they just went with the simple 20% bars and then your input-output. All these other units, the cheaper units, even if you just look at like the Go Labs, they have the 20% bar, they have your percentage, and then they have your input and output and number of hours left. This is a cheap unit, 130 bucks, and they got an awesome display. Way, way better than the EB70. So the EB70 went back. We get into solar panels. The panels, the first set that I picked were the Zoom Bros. And these are decent panels. I think they were 209 or 219, 120 watt panel. I did order 2 of them because I wanted to have enough wattage to power that Pecron. As it turns out though, unless I put these panels in series, I wasn't going to be able to do that. And I wanted to be able to power it with just one panel. So I did send one back, but I do still have one. It's a decent enough panel. It has the little kickstands, so you can adjust it to the angle of the sun and whatnot. Like I said, 120 watts, pretty decent, fairly decent. So it's in my, I guess if you want to call it, arsenal of solar panels, and I'm going to hang on to it. But then I also picked up a set of the Dokia panels, and these are 160 watt. I like these because the extra wattage, the form factor is a little bit bigger. It is quite a bit larger, but it's thinner. It's crazy. These are actually, when you fold them up, they're thinner than the 120 watt panels. I did like that it came with a little charge controller. It came with all your adapters. It does have a cable that you can run from the charge controller and hook to a battery. So I can run my panel in and then run this out to a battery. Say I'm out camping and my car battery decides it's going to take a dump and needs to be charged. I can hook this panel up and run it over to my battery, hook it to my battery, and charge my battery up while I'm, camping, and keep a battery going, which is kind of handy. All these little connectors and stuff are really handy. So that was kind of one reason I wanted to go with this. But once again, blaming Ive and his love of these rigid panels, I found this guy online on Amazon, and it's the High Quality Solar Technology. That's actually what HQST stands for. 190 watt panel, rigid panel. Is a bit heavy, and if you watch my video, you saw the dimensions. It's not small, but it's 190 watts, and the price point on this guy was $170. With tax, it came to $184. I had $92 credit from my Amazon card, so I actually paid $92 for a 190 watt rigid panel, which I think is pretty awesome. This will kind of be my go-to panel here in the yard whenever I want to charge something here at home. It's not going to be a panel I take with me. I'll take one of the other panels with me. But for the amount of wattage you get and the price point, it is really, really hard to beat. I'm looking forward to when Ive gets his. He's going to do a review on his. I did a quick review on mine. We were kind of overcast. So it was still top end, pulling mid to high 80s in the wattage. It did drop down to like 66. That's still not bad though. You could charge something on 60, 65 watts. But yeah, that's kind of, my go-to for here at home. I did pick up one of these meters that I can plug in. I wanted to start testing some things here. I wanted to plug in my refrigerator to this just to see how many watts it is actually going to pull. Other things that I have around the house I plugged in just to test, just to see what I'm going to need. Originally I thought I would need probably 1,000 watts. That's why I went with that Pecron. I figured 1,000's probably what I'm going to need. It turns out the 500 watt that I have seems to be good enough to run most of the things I want to run. I'm sure there are going to be some things around the house that I'll need more. But for the most part, it's decent at 500. I don't know if I'm going to go try pick one of these little Tenergies up. I was talking about them. Price point on these right now is $190. That's on Amazon. It's a 200 watt output with a 400 watt surge. And it does have, I believe they said, a 320 watt hour battery. They only rated it 300 though. But once again, watt hours are above the rated watts. So that's good. You always want to go equal to or more. So not bad, pure sine wave. This might not be a bad way to go if you're looking for something inexpensive but with a decent amount of power. And the main reason is because of this guy. With my refund on the Blue Eddy EB70, I did get $228 back on a gift card that I had used. This is the F40 C4TMP. That stands for Fahrenheit 40, centigrade 4 temperature. Don't ask me why they named it that. They did. We're just going to call it the F40. But the F40, it's copied by a couple different places. Gautier had one that is identical. This is the 20 quart. And also Bouger-V has one. It's identical. They are all probably coming out of the same factory. But this one was the lowest price point of the bunch. Even the Gautier looked like a good deal, but it doesn't include the AC adapter. I think they give you the DC cable, but you don't get the AC adapter. That would be like another $32. So when you factor that in, it's not the best deal, even though it looks like it when you first initially look at it on Amazon. This one was $209 with tax and everything. It came to $228, so my gift card covered it perfectly. I did want to get the 30 quart. That was my initial, what I thought I would want to get. I would have had to throw in another $52, and right now I really don't want to spend any more. I mainly just wanted to use the gift card and not have to put any more on my Amazon card. So the Amazon card, the gift card covered this. This should be here next week. I'm going to give it a day to sit, let all the compressor oil settle back in, and then I'll fire it up and we'll do a quick review on it. I know my wife had reservations about these, even the 30 quart. She's like, well, gee, that's not much space, and how much can you put in it? It doesn't look like it would hold much. But like I explained to her, these are all self-contained. You don't have to add ice to them. The 30 quart capacity, or in this case the 20 quart capacity, is all capacity. There's no ice taking up that room. So you can actually get quite a bit in these little things. And I wanted to pick one of the smaller ones up just to give it a test run, see how I like it. If everything works well and, looks like it's going to be a good investment, then maybe I'll go ahead and pick up the larger one. So we'll have a couple of them on hand. That way maybe we can sit this smaller one down to freezer mode, which these do have. They have 3 modes, believe it or not. You have freezer, refrigerator, and they do have a heating mode that I believe one review said they'll go to like 131 degrees. So they'll keep your food nice and warm. If you got a roast chicken or, some pizza, something you want to throw in it to keep it warm while you're out, at a picnic or something. I doubt I'll ever use the heater mode. Probably won't use the refrigerator mode much, or freezer mode much. It's going to be refrigerator. It's going to be for cold drinks. Dove hunting season's coming up, so I'll throw a bag in it, and when we get birds, we can put birds in there to keep them cool till we get home. But yeah, it's probably going to be a refrigerator for the most part. If we do get the 30 quart, this may go to freezer mode to keep stuff really cold, frozen, and then we'll have the 30 quart for drinks and stuff. But for the most part, it's going to be a refrigerator. But yeah, that's just kind of an overview of where I'm at right now as far as solar. It's been interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. One thing I will recommend, when you find something you like, look around, because there's a good chance there's another brand name that's the same item. I found that with the solar panels. The Zumbros, there's like 3 or 4 different panels that are identical. Same 120 watts, same eyelets, same manufacturing technique, everything, but different names. Same thing, like I said, with the coolers. You got the Bouge-RV, you got the Goture, and you got the F40. It's the same form factor, same identical cooler. The only difference is price point and name. So when you find something, look around. You may find something that's identical with a different brand name on it that you can pick up a little bit cheaper. So yeah, it's been interesting. I'm really enjoying getting into this. I know I was primarily knives and guns and political gripes and different things like that, but I really kind of like that I've added solar to this. It's been fun and interesting, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well, and learning along with me with all this. Like I said though, go hit up Ask Ive Solar's channel, subscribe to him. Hobotech's got an awesome channel if you want the more technical stuff. Jasonoid has a good channel. There's a bunch of good channels out there that I really never paid attention to till I started getting into this and doing the research. So hit them up. If you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you guys doing that. So like I always say, either we stand up for our rights or we can sit by and watch them go away. You all have an awesome rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. TN.Frank out of here.